Hello you lot, Miller Corner here, welcome back once again. Now last year I turned 21 and for reasons I can't really work out, in the UK turning 21 appears to be a big deal, like a significant birthday. I've no idea why. It's not the age you can drink, vote, move out of home, you're legally classed as an adult. Doesn't make any sense. No idea why 21 is such a big deal, but it is apparently. But who am I to argue with a tradition that means I can somehow get away with buying something awesome and quite expensive? I thought, why not buy myself a 21st birthday present? As well as seeing all my favourite people, having a great time and getting loads of awesome presents, why not buy myself something awesome as well? So without further ado, let me introduce my new project and 21st birthday present to myself, a 2002 Kawasaki ER5. Yep, you couldn't keep me away from bikes for very long, and indeed that's the reason why my 2007 Yamaha YBR125 had to go. Partly to clear the space and partly to free up the money so that I could pay for the lessons and for the tests and ultimately to buy that Kawasaki ER5, my first proper bike. And in true Miller Corner fashion, I bought it flying in the face of convention, and in this case, frankly, of all common sense. I bought that bike sight unseen from someone I'd never met, paid them full money before the bike was even delivered, and trusted them to deliver it to my family down south where I wasn't even living at the time. Yeah, trust me to make some sensible decisions. But then again, I'm 21, so I guess I am still a bit young and stupid. Thankfully, that decision pretty much completely didn't backfire at all. Unfortunately, the bike did backfire, because on the very first ride of my Kawasaki, it didn't want to do it. It was backfiring, it was popping and banging, it wouldn't rev beyond 5,000 RPM. We got a quarter of a mile from my house and it died and utterly refused to restart, whether it was pushed on full choke, nothing. Basically, it was dead. It was done. But thankfully, we did get it sorted. The carburetors turned out to be at fault. One of the needles was stuck, so the float wasn't opening up all the way. So even when the bike was idling, it was flooding, basically. It was just choking itself up with petrol. That was then sorted, the carburetors were stripped, completely rebuilt, the engine was given a full service, and now she's back better than ever. The reason why it's taken so long to even unveil it to you is I haven't even ridden it. I bought it in late November when I'd finished my next level up bike test, and then the bike died like a week after purchase, so I haven't had the chance to use it myself, let alone film it and make a video of it. But now she's fixed, she's back, better than ever before. Let's take a proper look around it. So here she is in all her glory, my 2002 Kawasaki ER5, and what a lovely beast she is. So down there we've got a 498cc parallel twin engine making 47 bhp. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider that's around 4 times as much as my little Yamaha YBR125 was, yeah, it's a little bit more significant. You might note this is water-cooled, unlike my dad's Suzuki Bandit you might have seen. This is a water-cooled bike, we've got an electric fan, job's a good one. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have chosen the gold colour necessarily, but this bike came up for the right price, and what I gave up on having the nice colour, I gained in various other ways, because this bike has had a few very subtle mods put on it, which have saved me a ton of money by not having to do them myself, and also made it a far more pleasant experience to own, to ride, and hopefully not to crash. For a start, you might have notice these are crash bars, and they are not standard. You might notice it's actually been bolted to the frame, the chassis of the bike there. The idea is that if I drop the bike, and I am a bit of an idiot, so who knows, the bike will land on the bit that sticks out furthest, and obviously without those bars there, it might well land on the engine, and if you start breaking engines, that's not fun. So these crash bars are mounted to the frame of the bike, so if it does land on those, you're okay, basically. It will protect it. You might scuff up the tank a little bit, but that's way cheaper than replacing an engine, so frankly, I highly approve of those. You might remember that I fitted adjustable levers to my YBR125. No need on the ER5 because they come as standard. That's right, I can flick that little dial there, adjust the throat on my brake and my clutch, and I've already done that, so yep, she is super comfortable. You might have also noticed these are LED indicators which I've got, and these I love because they're a lot less bulky and ungainly than the standard late 90s Kawasaki items. Because they're LED, they're a hell of a lot brighter than standard, and you might notice this little rubber collar here. That means they move a little bit, so if I do end up rubbing up against anything, they won't just break off. How good is that? Check out how bright that is. That's really, really nice. That's going to be really noticeable. These are awesome. I love them, and they came on the bike. Winner. And perhaps one of my favourite things about this bike, it's not a stock pipe. That is an art race exhaust, and it sounds awesome, as you shall now see, or hear, or just listen. Absolutely love it. And let's be fair, buying a half decent aftermarket cam for your bike, 150, 200 quid realistically, so I can knock that off the price I paid for the bike because I would have bought one to put on it anyway. That makes this bike even more of a bargain. It's also had a new disc and new pads up the front. It's had an oil and filter change, and the shocks have been changed in the last 1,000 miles. So yep, overall, I've struck pretty lucky with this bike, apart from the bit when it broke, but we'll gloss over that. You've got a nice fat driver's seat, nice fat pillion seat, so you could definitely comfortably, you can see how cold it is, you could definitely get 2 people on this seat with pillion pegs in a nice place. And considering this bike has done 33,000 miles, I don't think this seat's in bad nick either. I think that's really tidy, no rips, no tears, and it is the Kawasaki original. In profile, this is a really good condition bike, considering that it's done over 33,000 miles and it's a 17, 18-year-old bike now. There's no paint nastily scuffed away on the mudguard. The engine hasn't been painted, it looks like it's just been primed actually a little while ago, but that's getting sorted, don't you worry. And on the whole, you would never know this was a 33,000 mile bike. It is noticeably bigger and heavier to look at and to ride than my YBR was, but comfortably so. It feels slightly larger in every way, but not unmanageable. When I was kind of practicing for my bigger bike test, I practiced a bit on my dad's Bandit, and there's no nice way of putting it, that bike feels fat. At low speeds, it's quite cumbersome, it feels quite large, particularly if you're only used to a tiny little lightweight 125 like I previously was. The ER5, no such worries to be honest. It does feel narrower, it feels considerably lighter, and whilst it doesn't feel as small as my YBR did, it's a much more manageable bike to use. So you know what, as a step up from a 125 to a 500, I think this bike is pretty much spot on. So that's a quick walk around of my all new Kawasaki ER5, my 21st birthday present to myself and my all new project. And that's right, I said project, because with my Yamaha I didn't do much to it, because I did know in the back of my mind I wasn't actually going to be keeping it that long. I deliberately held off from painting it, changing the exhaust, anything like that, because it was a 125, it was never going to hang around for that long. This on the other hand, because of the way UK bike licensing works, I have to keep this for at least 2 years, and that means, that's right, if I'm in for the long haul with the Kawasaki, then I'm going to make it my own. By the end of this year, this bike is going to look considerably different. I want to go for a bit of a retro modern look with it without compromising its comfort, its performance, or frankly, how good it looks generally. However, because I bought a bike that was pretty much broken upon purchase, I haven't properly experienced it yet. I've ridden it the 2 or 3 miles from my place to this car park we're in right now, but I haven't taken it on a proper ride. I haven't chucked it down some country lanes, I haven't fully opened it up yet. I don't fully know what it's like to experience my first proper motorcycle. As much as I've got plans for the future for this Kawasaki then, the weather's nice, the bike's working, let's go and ride.